I wonder if there's any new comments. Let's have a look. Yes!
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
1 hour later.
Victory is assured, comrades. Good luck.
Hey RWBY fans, thanks for joining us again for another review cast of Chapter 8 of Volume 3. A lot of stuff has happened this episode, but before we get into that, I just want to bring up, as you might have seen in our intro, we were just poking a little fun at a commenter on our previous video who did end up taking down their comment. And we thank that person, whoever they are, for doing that. But at the very least, we want to say, like, yeah, there was a little criticism of our intro for being irrelevant. We just want to say, like, the reason we do it that way is because we're just having a bit of fun. You know, we at Finite Unlimited, we do this because we find it interesting and enjoyable to do. So we do that partly because we find it funny, and also because it allows us to put other things in the intro that may reference other works that we find interesting or that we like, and we might direct you to, or things like that. So I hope you understand why we do that way, but no animosity to whoever did make that comment. We absolutely understand that, you know, what we do is not for everyone either. So, but we hope you keep watching. Anyway, we also want to address a comment by Qrow, who brought up the idea of Grimmancy. Now, this is the idea that a dark elite can learn the art form of controlling and summoning Grimm, sort of like necromancy, but not with the dead, but as much as is the creatures of Grimm. Now, I personally thought to myself, like, why didn't I think of this earlier? I tended to just say, like, oh, well, Lord Grimm chooses his agents and he imparts his power to them. But in many ways, Grimmancy seems to fill a lot of holes, I think. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a very good theory, adding the old sort of necromancy, so pre-established tropes,
Yeah.
not tropes, but ideas, and bring it into the RWBY world with the Grimm.
Yeah, it's established ideas. It does seem to hold some weight. It can, in some ways, explain Lord Grimm. So, well, at least how he imparts his power to other people. So, for us, it helps explain a little bit, but thanks to Cody for putting that out there. It just shows that even though we put a lot of thought into the Lord Grimm theory, we don't think of everything. So we really do appreciate commenters like yourself, and all those who do comment other things. We do pay attention. I'm sorry we can't respond to all of them, especially the long-winded ones. You have a lot of good ideas, but it's so hard to respond to all the many different ideas that you bring up, and it really causes us to have to step away from our own theory for a bit to really engross ourselves in the sort of thoughts that you come up with, and it creates a whole different universe with so many different possibilities that we can't really narrow down to a simple answer. So I hope you understand that. Also, one other thing we need to bring up is Senor Roberto from our previous video suggested the idea that every time we bring up Lord Grimm, take a drink. So we might start introducing that rule, but we also responded to that by saying if you're a responsible drinker, you should take a drink every time at least a little facet of our theory, or whenever we make a prediction comes true, take a drink. Because at least that should be a little more rare than how many times we bring up Lord Grimm. Take a drink.
Take a drink.
We'll probably run out of drink by the end of this. Anyway, so let's get into the episode. So first of all, some people, including ourselves, were thinking of the idea that Team RWBY, specifically Ruby, Weiss, and Blake, we're not going to believe Yang's end of the interpretation of the events from episode 6. But we are very reassured to find out that Ruby and Weiss have stood up for Yang, and you know, Blake's been a bit skeptical, and sort of because of her own experience with Adam and his sort of self-righteous explanations for the bad things he did. She was a little worried that Yang was going to be a little the same. So you can understand why Blake felt that way. It's sort of like, you know, my trust has been taken advantage of before, and I just want to be sure that you're not lying, sort of thing. And I thought that was a very touching moment. What do you think?
I thought it was a very touching moment. It was sort of like shows that the team unity is there and we believe in each other regardless of what facts may present itself to the contrary.
It's good to have friends.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that the team's sticking together through all this. It's clearly a very difficult time because as we saw as the scene went on, you know, RWBY and the gang decided, oh, well, we'll leave Yang to, you know, get her thoughts together. And Team Juniper waiting across the hall, sort of eager for news. It really gives you the sense as if, you know, someone just died. Like there's sort of like the sort of grief and traumatic air that we're all feeling at the moment, especially the editor. So
I'm
feeling it hard, you know, and it's just feels like such a tragic circumstance. And Team Juniper, you know, yet RWBY's like, you know, Yang would want Pyrrha to win for Beacon, and Pyrrha's, you know, like, yeah, sure. I've got other things to think about right now. But, you know, and we see sort of Team Juniper try to help Pyrrha out in their own way. Nora, being the ball of energy that she is, tries to get her into the zone. You know, get ready for the fight. Could be today, it could be tomorrow. And, you know, Pyrrha's not really responding to that at the moment because, you know, as we can all understand, she's just not in that frame of mind right now. And I love Lyren's cooking apron. Please do nothing to the cook. It's so Ren, but he's also approaching it in the wrong way. Like, oh, you must think more logically and think, you know, if you drink this smoothie, it'll be, you know, your body will be ready, sort of thing. Does wonders. Algae has many important properties, yada yada yada. But we can see like how far Jaune has come as a leader. Like he can see into this situation, and he goes, you know, this isn't helping, guys. Let's go for a walk. Let's just, you know, go for a walk around the place. And I specifically noted as they were walking through the Beacon Academy that, you know, Pyrrha and Jaune are walking pretty close together. You know, you notice these things. I'm starting to get the feeling they might have a thing to each other. You know, they might have a thing for each other.
Yeah,
so I don't know. No one believes that.
No.
But
completely ridiculous.
But Jaune, I think, is showing that his sense of judgment's probably improved a great deal over the last year or so, something like that. And then we get back to Yang, and Qrow has somehow introduced himself into the room, whether Yang knew it or not. Very sneaky Qrow, you know. Uncles do that, or something like that. It's Qrow's trick. Maybe that's his semblance. You were joking that maybe he knows he's an illusion semblance guy as well. Like at this stage, anyone could be. You'll never know. You'll never know. Anyway, so you know, he asks the question we saw from the coming up clip. You know, you're either lying or you're crazy. Well, I'm not lying. Well, crazy it is. Got it. And someone did comment like maybe Qrow's just trying to figure out what Yang knows. And I suppose if she's crazy, then the reality must be a crazy possibility. So that's probably what he's getting at. I think we said that last episode as well. So, and out of that conversation, Yang brings up, I saw my mum. And I was very intrigued by Qrow's response to that. I was a little curious about his reaction, whether that was, you know, suspicious or cautious or even worried, like, you met your mum? Ooh, I can only imagine what this means, sort of thing. Like, I'm not sure what that means. What did you read out of that?
It was like, this is obviously a reference too old for most of our viewers, but it would be like being in Vietnam through the Vietnam War and hearing a twig creak in the distance, and you know all your men are behind you, and it's in front of you. You're like, well, that might not be the enemy, but it's not sure.
This is a very
tense moment.
You're caught. Like you don't know what's in store, but you know something's going to happen, sort of thing. And what I find interesting is that Yang did not mention seeing her mother face to face. She brought up the event in which she saw her mother save her on the train, thus probably giving some credence to the people who said that scene at the end of, I think, was it Volume 2?
Yes.
It was at the end of Volume 2 when we saw her meet her mother in front of Beacon, maybe that was a dream after all. Maybe we were a bit too quick to squash that. So maybe some of you said that was a dream. Maybe you're right. Maybe that was just Yang's desire coming out in her dreams to see her mother face to face or something like that.
I
What do you
think
think?
I think it's some sort of. I do believe it's a
Illusion.
dream. It's too psychedelic. It's definitely her intruding on her daughter's dream somehow.
Maybe that's
Using
a
some
semblance.
sort of grim artifact.
Maybe a grim artifact. Who knows?
Provided by Lord Grim. Take a drink.
Lord Grim. I do love Lord Grim.
Shut up.
Sorry, I'm just really thirsty. Anyway, so then Qrow goes into this whole conversation like, oh yeah, well, let me guess, your mother didn't say anything. Well, in a situation that Yang was in, there was no guarantee that Raven was going to talk to Yang anyway. And the other thing was, oh, your mother and I talk every now and then, and she had a message for me to pass on to you when when your time was right. I saved you once, I probably won't save you again. And I sort of thought to myself, like, why didn't Qrow tell her when he arrived? Like, things were still pretty good then. Things were looking up and that sort of thing. But to tell her that now doesn't seem right at all. And it's not really an important message if you really think about it, because Yang really wasn't depending on her mother to protect her in the first place. Yeah. It was just happenstance that Raven did. So I feel a little off about that comment. But then Qrow goes into this idea, he starts pushing Yang in a specific direction, like, you should really think about what to do next. And I'm like, oh, well, what's that? Well, when I met your mother last, she let some information drop, and maybe we can go chase her. Now, a lot of things about this don't sit well with me. One, we know Qrow's part of this brotherhood, so he's been investigating this conspiracy involving Cinder for some time. Why would he all of a sudden drop that just to help his niece find her mother? It just doesn't seem right. His priorities are not in the right spot or anything like that. And why would Raven drop that information? Was it that maybe Qrow got this information through somewhere else? Or maybe Raven intentionally dropped the information? Because what we think, or at least what I think, is Qrow's not telling Yang the real truth about her mother yet. I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff is going on right now for Den Yang to learn about the maidens and the possible existence of Lord Grim and this conspiracy involving Cinder. Take a drink. Also, we're very pretentious for having wine glasses. So a lot of it doesn't sit well. Like, yeah, there's a lot of explanation for why Qrow wouldn't tell her all of that, but he may want her to go with him. One, because he might need the help, and two, Yang is probably a good way of getting to Raven. I don't know. Maybe Qrow's thinking very logically here, and leaving Beacon Academy is probably the best for Yang at the moment. So she may unwillingly or unknowingly be helping Qrow investigate this conspiracy involving her mother, because I think last episode pretty much proved, for us at least, that Raven is certainly aligned with Lord Grim, or at least the Grim, the cult of Grim, perhaps. So yeah, that seems to me pretty much the direction that's going. Do you have anything to add?
No, actually, that's basically it.
Yeah, so I think that's likely. I think I'm going to commit to that prediction. I'm going to commit to predicting that that's going to be what's going to happen. So let's keep a lookout for that, and then maybe we can take a drink for that later. So the other thing that was confirmed during that is Raven is Qrow's sister. Not very hard to, like, I think a lot of us predicted that, but we'll take a drink for that anyway. So we take everything we can get. So, and then we cut away from that again. We rejoin Pyrrha, who's, sitting on her own. She's clearly still mulling over this becoming the fall maiden thing, and the fact that it's fall at the moment. It's probably not helping with that sort of autumn leaf coming down, sitting in front of her.
Symbolism is obvious.
they make use of their symbolism. Jaune comes along with Fairy Floss, like as you do, the comforter mate. So as friends, friends. So they sit together. They're talking about things, and I love how much their relationship has grown since last volume. Like, we're having this joke earlier in the volume where, Pyrrha asks, like, what are we, when they're talking about team names within the team, and Jaune's going, Pyrrha. Well, sorry, I just want to know so it's clearly defined, and you just know the writers are rubbing it in your face. But this is the moment where it's sort of, I get a little consolation because Jaune and Pyrrha get to hold hands and all that, and there's that very nice intimate moment between them. So it was really nice, and or what can I do to help you? Already doing it. It's just like so good, so good. Like a lot of us who ship Jaune and Pyrrha have been waiting for that for a very long time. But again, I'm gonna have to take the cynic note on this and say that this is probably the only time it's gonna happen, because I sort of feel like when a thing happens, something as good as this happens before a climactic event, is usually because it's not going to happen after the climactic event, or that they're going to be separated for a very long time, something like that. So I'm getting a strong feeling that that's the reason behind this.
The jump before the fall.
That's right. So, things are still looking like they're going to head down. And Pyrrha's talking about destiny and about how she saw herself achieving, becoming a huntress, and it's not looking like the way it is. Jaune didn't even ask what she was talking about, but she was clearly looking for an out. She was clearly looking for someone to tell her that she didn't need to be a huntress, maybe. But Jaune affirmed her in this, going like, no, you can do it. I know the Pyrrha Nika, she wouldn't back down, but, that's clearly not what she wanted to hear.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she got so emotional. And we also saw that, when you're emotional, your semblance can act out pretty out of whack. So, she accidentally threw him against the wall, and, they had that sort of split and awkward, let's not talk for a little bit after that. But, ignoring my phone there, things are building up for what's coming up next, though. RWBY then goes to talk to Velvet, and Velvet's taking pictures of Sun. Maybe there's another hint of a ship there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just me thinking that Velvet as a Faunus is attracted to Faunus guys. I don't know. That could be the case, but
It's not racist.
But two Faunus girls, after the same Faunus guy. Blake's a Faunus. Sometimes I forget that, but she is,
Yep.
And if she found out, she might, no, she's the jealous type, who knows? Cat fight. Anyway, bad joke. Velvet brings up the case, saying, Coco also saw hallucinations, so I suppose that just happens a lot on the battlefield. And then RWBY puts two and two together. Hold on.
Two erroneous events?
So there's something all about that. And when RWBY goes to the arena, somehow she sees Emerald from across the arena. Like, she has pretty good eyesight.
From like a kilometer or half a mile away.
Something like that. And Emerald somehow also sees her. So apparently people in this were like, maybe aura just gives you perfect eyesight. I don't know. It's just how that works. But RWBY decides, well, I'm going to run off. I have no idea where she was running off to. Like, for whatever reason. Then, I didn't expect this. Mercury decides to show himself. It seems like a really stupid move. Honestly, RWBY can't prove anything yet. Like, the fact that Mercury himself, who is walking evidence, walking being the key word, he reveals himself as not the brightest move on his part.
He was supposed to stay back at their base. I don't know why she's doing here. What is he doing here? Sorry.
Unless Emerald signaled him or something like that. But even that's stupid.
Because they're in the city and the Fighter Festival is in the clouds above beacons.
Yeah, and this ruse can be easily undone if anyone discovers them. Or if, RWBY starts talking and brings up Velvet and Coco and goes, hey, this happened to them as well. Do you think we should investigate this? And, that would put Cinder under the spotlight being part of their team sort of thing. So, he put him in a very bad situation. And then we have in the background the foreshadowing. Penny Polydina versus Pyrrha and Nikos. Guys, we called it.
Called it.
We called it. Those two are going to fight. Drink. It's going to happen. Now, the other half of this prediction is yet to occur. Is Pyrrha going, well, as Mercury implies, going to seriously damage Penny? Because as he says, like, polarity and metal, because they know she's a machine. Yeah. And that's another thing Mercury gave away, by the way. He let RWBY know that they know that. So he pretty much exposed how deeply involved and how much they know. Like, he's really screwed up in many ways. As long as it doesn't come back to bite him, it'll be fine. But it seems like because we had this foreshadowing about Pyrrha's semblance acting out of whack when her emotions are unstable, and them, like, Cinder and this Chaos Syndicate using Penny, hacking Penny potentially, to force her to attack Pyrrha, or using Emerald's illusions as a backup, Pyrrha will be confronted with such a difficult and serious situation while she's emotionally unstable. She might seriously, in a word, dismember Penny. Do an Android 16 on her.
Or it could be, even if she wasn't under that stress, that the electromagnetic pull she's exerting over Penny could destroy her inner workings. It could disable her inner functions, causing her to perhaps rampage, or just to stop functioning altogether. So
there's a lot of things that can go wrong in this situation. It's not looking good. And the fact that RWBY's now fighting Mercury, this is a very tense situation.
Also, you're gonna put someone in the corner that has a semblance of speed. She can just run away.
Well, I think in the upcoming for the next episode, which is coming up very shortly, it shows that RWBY does try to run away. I'm not sure if it shows that RWBY was cut off or anything like that. Anyway, she at least was smart enough to think to herself, you know, the right thing to do is to escape and tell people that I saw Mercury running around and there's something bigger going on here.
She'll probably go to Ironwood or Ozpin.
Ozpin is the kind of... He would totally take her for a word. So he's the right person to run to. But as we saw in the episode, he's currently sitting in his office watching the randomized thing coming up.
But you know who is watching? Ironwood. And Ironwood, if Ironwood sensed a plot against Penny, he would pause the match.
If he thought, I suppose all RWBY would really have to say is someone else knows that Penny is a robot and is playing on that as an advantage in this match. That might be enough to motivate Ironwood, like, oh, not my investment, stop the match, this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Or there's a plot.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's Penny and they know she's a robot.
But we'll have to wait and see. The only other things that really showed up in that coming up clip for next episode is the fight between Pyrrha and Penny, so we really don't know much. They're keeping a lot of the real spoilery stuff close to the chest at the moment.
It's a good pizza pie.
Yeah, that's right. It's got everything. It's got the works at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see. Also, you brought up something about Ozpin watching the randomized thing in his office. Now, there's two different things that this could mean. Is this just for dramatic effect, or is it because Ozpin actually is picking up on something and maybe he has a plan? Maybe? Hard to say. Like, you think someone as smart as Ozpin would have, I don't know, a backup plan for the unexpected or something like that. But, you know, the difference between the enemy, the Chaos Syndicate succeeding here right now, and the good guys figuring out the conspiracy is really grinding against each other at the moment. It could go either way. So, and the only reason it is that way because Emerald and Mercury screwed up.
Didn't listen to Cinder. That's why they're not equal compatriots.
They gotta be careful because Cinder could probably kill them out of anger.
Yeah, she might.
But
there's another one to the noose.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, they could. Well, I mean, I'd be that pissed off that I might consider cutting them loose, something like that. But maybe that just speaks to my nature. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it for this episode. I don't think, like, we're sort of holding this Lord Grim Raider up and thinking about when he might show up. I need more drink. Sorry. Uncalled for. When he will show up, it could be. I'm still thinking that he's going to show up this volume, but probably not next episode. I think I'll safely call that. But do you have any other predictions for this coming episode?
Doom.
Oh, we always
Death
call Doom.
and destruction.
On that basis, if anything bad happens next episode, take a drink. Because we called it.
Someone's gonna die.
So yeah.
I believe, and someone will get severely injured.
Yeah, that's right. And we should be bringing up serious injury. Pyrrhic victory. I do believe we brought this up before. We think that she might be destined to, come out of the battle victorious, but also, get some serious wounds out of it. Maybe that whole destiny thing was also a reference to the whole Pyrrha Nico's Achilles heel sort of thing. So, if you don't know all those references, I looked them up on the RWBY wiki because they're all there. Penny may go haywire. Pyrrha might be able to defeat her, but I still think, and we predict that Pyrrha might be seriously wounded as a result. As such, her ability to become the Fall Maiden might be lost on her. Because when we go back to that whole scene with Jaune and Pyrrha and those two autumn leaves, in many ways it seemed to resemble the first autumn leaf resembling Pyrrha becoming the Fall Maiden. The second one representing Jaune perhaps being a partner to her and supporting her. But I thought to myself, what if Jaune sort of stands in for her if she becomes seriously wounded? Not becoming the Fall Maiden, but in a sense doing what she could not. It's taking over the mantle. Because as we know, there's still a lot about Jaune that's not been revealed yet, such as his semblance, such as his real symbol. So that could be something. Just keep that in reserve just in case. But the main predictions I think we have is that one of them being proven this episode, Pyrrha and Penny going up against each other. Yang will go on a trip with Qrow to search for her mother, whom we will reveal probably to be in allegiance with the cult of Grimm.
Oh, very nicely worded. I had it ready.
I'm not sure, I thought if there's a good way for Lord Grimm to show up in this series, it'll be chasing someone who's definitely aligned with him. So if they chase Raven, there may be a chance that we can meet Lord Grimm through that. So Yang will go with Qrow to discover the truth about her mother as part of investigating this great conspiracy. RWBY will attempt to tell the truth about what's going on in this arena, but I think it'll happen too late. By the time she talks, Penny will probably be destroyed, Pyrrha will be seriously wounded, and the Grimm attack will happen. Because if something as serious as that happens on live television, a death, that's a step up from before. And even that caused immense Grimm activity.
And also, if it's both by Beacon, the intensity of dissuadement increases because it's 2 incidents on Beacons.
Yeah, that's right.
Against Beacon.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So I think that's how it'll happen. I still maintain in our original theory of Lord Grimm that Cinder does plan to take out the Elysian fleet on live television, but that'll probably be the last step. That'll probably be part of her final phase or something like that of her plan. So I think those are the big predictions coming up. Hopefully we'll rejoin you next time and gloat about how great we are. So
I think we're getting pretentious now.
Every day, every week, we get more and more pretentious. Until we can't anymore.
The plot of the righteous man.
Until we're humbled and we're just brought back to the ground again. Anyway, I think that's pretty much everything from us. So join us next time. Things are pretty much getting up and running with us again, so hopefully things will stay on track for this year. So, until next time, I am the narrator.
I'm the editor.
And we are Finite Unlimited. Stick with us, we're not going anywhere, and help us keep this theory boat afloat. Until next time, guys.
Caramel dancing. Ooh, 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 oh, wow, wow. Ooh, 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 oh, wow.
Why'd you put that in?
Because I felt like it.
Whatever.